friends, Emily here and welcome to our new apartment. We just moved in like I think 2 or 3 weeks ago and we are loving it. So today's adult lesson on how to adult is all about flat hunting. So today I have 20 top tips on how you can find your perfect dream apartment or flat that'll suit all of your needs. So the very first thing you need to do before you even start Googling or researching any kind of flat is to organise your flat living situation. You need to organise who's going to be living with who. I can't even tell you how many people I know that like have left their flatting situation till literally like the last 2 weeks or something like that, because they didn't want to bring up who wanted to live with who next year and all that awkwardness if anybody wants to leave or live with somebody else. So it's just best to bring this up like from the beginning, months before you plan on moving out. Get together your team of flatmates and create a flat Facebook page, because then you can keep track of everything, like all of your costs, any flat viewings you want to go to, anything that you need to tell anybody about power bills. If you want to be super onto it and nerdy, get a little flat hunting book where you can record everything, just because honestly there are so many times when I've gone to a flat viewing and like the internet's cut out, we just don't know where the address is or the contact details of the property manager, and just having a paper record makes it so much easier. Next, you need to decide on a target price for rent. So weekly rent, everybody might have different needs or specifications, who can afford what, and how that target price rent is going to be divided and allocated between each of the different rooms or people. You need to decide on room allocation, just because, you know, normally you don't get 3 equally sized rooms, so who gets priority on the biggest rooms, if there's a couple for example, or whoever's working full-time maybe, who can afford to pay more. Number 3, the next thing to do is to allocate the mum. And in our flat, that basically means the mum of the family is sort of in charge for the day. So in this situation, the mum was the sort of key contact for all the prospective flats. So that meant we would always put their name and phone number on all of the applications or inquiries into different properties. There's not like double bookings between the same flat. Although that is like the one key contact, everyone in the flat needs to be actively looking for flats. So it doesn't all fall on one person. Everybody has to like constantly keep researching and inquiring into all these different places and just posting everything on the page. Basically, you need to make flat hunting like your new big hobby, and it can actually be a lot of fun. Replace like your Instagram time, Tumblr, Twitter and all that, just replace that with flat hunting for now. It makes a huge difference if you're just like the first person on there. And number 5 is to always try to make the first flat viewing. If you can get the first private viewing, that's even better. But if there is scheduled viewings, then it's always best to try and make the first one, because the chances are within the first viewing there's probably going to be like at least 3 other flat groups looking at it. The chances are that somebody is going to apply for it that first viewing. And the only reason they have like multiple viewings after that is because they have to until somebody actually accepts it, but the chances are they've probably already offered it to someone, so it's best to make that first viewing. Just try to like share the different flat viewings, and so the responsibility is shared around a little bit. And number 7 is to set reminders for flat viewings on your phone. It is not a good look. Just like a job interview, for example, you do not want to be late and you do not want to miss out on the flat viewing. And also before the flat viewing, remember to write a list of questions that you have for the property manager. So if it's not already listed on the Trade Me listing or whatever, the description, then the things you should probably ask them are how much the bond or advanced rent will be, whether the place is run on gas or electric, hot water, also if there's any insulation issues or noise, plumbing. Basically, they don't have to tell you these things, but if you ask them, they're not allowed to lie. So it's best to ask and just kind of judge from their reaction sometimes whether there are any problems with like leakiness or mold or bad insulation, noise from neighbours or streets around, you know, if there's construction going on, for example, that you just don't think about. Plumbing, since our last house was on a pump, we didn't think to ask about that, but you should ask, is this on a pump if it's below ground level or like street level? That is a huge possibility. Or even ask if it's haunted and just judge their reaction, because they're not allowed to lie about that. Also, if the tenants, any of the tenants are around for the flat viewing, definitely ask them questions. It is so worth it, because so many people did not ask us questions about our last flat and they really should have, because valuable insight. So when you do go to the flat viewings and meet the property manager, the first thing you need to know, number 10, is to wear stylish yet comfortable clothing. So basically basically it is sort of like a job interview because you're sort of selling yourself and your flat members, so you need to have really clear posture and all of that kind of stuff. So good presentation. Wear flat shoes but professional, especially if you're having to like walk around to lots of different flat viewings that day. And number 11 is to brush up on the property details before you actually go to the flat viewing, because it is so annoying for the property manager when all of these details like things about bond and gas or electric or whether it's furnished or any of those kinds of things, whiteware. It's so annoying for the property manager if it's already listed and they have to repeat themselves. So if you brush up on the details, you'll look very interested and knowledgeable about the whole property, and they'll be more likely to warm up to you and probably accept your application first. Number 12, obviously always show up to the viewings early because it's again like a job interview, and present yourself in a good light. Number 13, when you're waiting at the flat viewing outside the property, always make sure you're standing and looking professional. Obviously don't like slump against the wall or like sit on the stairs because it's just not a good look really, you know. Number 14, when the property manager does come, always make sure you greet them, you look them in the eye and you give them a big smile. Basically just be a good human being, because this is kind of like your chance to like win them over without all of the other different potential tenants to kind of distract from you. Number 15, when they do ask you what you do, make sure you talk it up, just like, you know, on your CV. Basically, if you're a student, try to avoid the word student. Obviously don't lie or anything, like if they clearly get the impression you're a student. Maybe just say, I'm a designer, or I'm in the design industry, or engineering. Just, you know, avoid student. If it obviously does come up, say something like, you know, I'm a mature third year honours student. Number 16 is to keep to the front of the line. So since you'll be there bright and early, you will automatically be at the front of the line, but you will notice some people trying to snake past you to get to the first position. And this is because if you were first, you get a first look at the whole place, you can talk to the property manager first, and you can also grab an application at the end first. Also, since it's most likely that your whole flat's not going to be with you, it's best to take an actual video of the flat while you're walking through. You're allowed to do it generally. They'll tell you if you're not. After you've kind of looked at the place, this is the time to pull out your little notebook and ask your list of questions. And number 19 is to always ask for an application. Even if you're not really sold on the place, you never know, like if you fall into that pit hole of not finding anything, and this is actually an okay kind of situation. And often it'll be an online application and they'll just like tell you to refer to the website, but by asking, you're showing you're interested. Remember to like repeat your name and what you do, just so that like they get a really good like lasting impression of you. And number 20 is to obviously review the whole video and situation with your flatmates that night as soon as everybody's home. And if it isn't terrible and everybody's sort of okay with living there, even if you're still like wanting to look at other places, that's totally fine. Apply and send that night. Like make sure you like leave the name and the details of the person who went to the viewing, and like leave a nice note or whatever, email it off to the property manager, and yeah, get it all done that night, because then you'll definitely be front of the line. Also importantly, just to follow on from that, is to actually follow up with your property manager. But maybe wait, like if you're really interested in the place, like 3 to 5 days, just to make sure that they received everything, you didn't send it to the wrong place. Even if you're not like the best looking tenants, like somebody that's like really committed and willing to kind of take the place right now, they will take, because they want to basically just get rid of all this paperwork, have it all done and sorted and dusted. Showing your interest just really makes a huge difference. Obviously, while you're waiting for replies, you need to keep on hunting. You need to apply for like, honestly, at least like 3-5 places, because chances are you're not going to get accepted by a lot of them, but it's best to be accepted by a few and be able to turn them down, rather than to just be homeless, obviously. Also, on a side note, is the whole debate between property owners and property managers. Property owners are just basically everyday people that have bought a house and they don't happen to live in it. They just kind of let it out to different people. So this generally isn't their full-time job or business in any way. It's just like something they do on the side to get a bit extra money, and somebody else pays off their mortgage for them. The owners are generally less likely to get back to you, like if there's a problem in the flat, because it's not their full-time paid job, so they're generally a lot more busy. It can be quite annoying to get in touch with them and for them to actually follow through. On the other hand, they're generally less strict with their bond returns, because they don't expect you, well, obviously you should still not trash the place that you're living in, but they don't expect as pristine a condition as property managers. Property managers are places, there are quite a few of them, which basically look after a property for the owner. Obviously the property is still owned by somebody else, but the property manager will maintain it and take care of all of the tenant issues for them and for a fee. So they generally will get back to you because they are obligated, it's their actual full-time job to take care of the tenants and to look after the property. However, they are generally a lot more strict with you, and by strict I mean like the entire process is just like so much harder. Like their whole application process is generally more extensive. Also their bond and weeks in advance rent are generally a lot higher, generally around like 4 to 6 weeks bond, 2 to 3 weeks advance rent, which is crazy. Also, they generally have a letting fee, and a letting fee is generally 1 to 2 weeks rent, full rent of the property. Basically for nothing, just because they can. It's like, hello, I pay rent to live here, I don't need to pay a bloody letting fee, but whatever. Also, once you do move out, they're just like a hell of a lot stricter on everything. Gosh, this mark on the wall, you must have created that. So honestly, as soon as you move in, take pictures of like every wall and crevice. Like if you see any kind of pinprick or mark or like stain on the carpet, take a photo of it, get it printed out with the date, and also email those photos straight away to the property manager, just to say, hey, this was here before I moved in. You can't blame me for it after I move out and charge me for all these renovation costs. They'll charge you for cleaning costs even though the place is clean, so just leave it in like a pristine state. So basically those are my tips on how to adult in terms of living, renting. If you want to hear about my flat from hell, I will be making a video about that. Maybe I should wait until I get my bond going though. And if you want to see a flat tour of the new place, it's pretty awesome, let me know, and have a good weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Bye!